Question. Do you have your own way of living well? Maybe you try to wake up early or have regular workout routines? I see some people nodding. Oops. And in this uncertain times, people have been developing their own ways of living well in their everyday life. Especially in recent years, maybe after COVID, we've seen this globally. Trends around daily wellness routines online, especially around young adults. One example is the That Girl trend on TikTok. This often focuses on productivity routines, staying motivated, and being consistent. And in Korea, this sort of lifestyle has a name called God-Saeng. It roughly means living like the best version of yourself. You manage all your responsibilities, you work out regularly, you're even good at digital detox, and you even secure time to rest. I've tried this, and it lasted about 3 days. The God-Saeng challenge became a trend among young adults, a way to stay consistent in this effort. People document their routines from curated Instagram posts to vlogs. And sometimes it feels a little bit intense. So this led us to ask, so how is everyday well-being actually constructed? So here we present our Constructing Everyday Wellbeing Insights from God-Saeng for Personal Informatics with my wonderful collaborators. So we ask, how are people's everyday well-being situated within the God-Saeng narrative? What tensions emerge? And what does it mean for designing personal informatics systems? To explore this, we conducted a 2-week study with 24 young adults who are the core population of this trend, who were trying to live a God-Saeng lifestyle. It consisted of 3 parts: a group workshop, 10-day bite-sized mission, which I'll elaborate a bit more later, and a follow-up interview. So the group workshop was to understand the narratives and everyday practices of God-Saeng. We first had them to define God-Saeng in their own terms and let them describe the everyday practices for God-Saeng, ranging from applications to social arrangement, etc. So next we move on to the 10-day bite-sized mission. So it was a cultural probe-inspired design to assess the tacit and situated aspects of everyday well-being. So what's bite-sized mission? So basically, it's a small and self-defined action built on their own values. They can also reflect on any thoughts, emotions, or contextual details about this bite-sized mission. So this value keywords here were grounded from the last activity from the group workshop. So in advance to the group workshop, we had participants to collect 20 photos that were captured in moments where they felt meaningful in their daily lives. They labeled the photos by what made the moment meaningful, clustered them into groups, and labeled the representative value keywords for each group. These values later became anchors in authoring bite-sized mission in the later phase. So after the workshop, participants carried out this bite-sized mission for 10 days. Now, let's take a look at the findings. The narratives of God-Saeng were centered around purposefulness, diligence, and self-improvement. In order to hold them to this God-Saeng lifestyle, participants often assembled combinations of technologies blended with social arrangements. First, they enacted God-Saeng through everyday mundane routines with a vast range of planning and routine technologies. P16 mentioned, I try to manage my life the same way my team does the project management, using methods like sprint cycles and scrums. And to sustain these routines, they created a system of external accountability that would transform personal routines into technological, social, and financial commitments. B2 mentioned I regularly recruit study groups through online forums for wake-up challenges and gym check-ins. We don't know each other, we're just there to keep each other accountable. Finally, beyond sustaining routines, participants assembled diverse verification mechanisms to verify to oneself and to another. Sometimes representational artifact itself, not merely the action, became meaningful. At the same time, we found that these configurations were a way for them to cope with the existential matter of precarity. Many participants spoke about uncertainty around academic trajectories, employment, financial futures that felt largely outside of their control, and keeping up with these everyday routines created a sense of control and achievement under these conditions. But at the same time, they also introduced pressure, self-blame, and sometimes anxiety. So at the same time, what we learned from the bite-sized missions were that people don't just follow pre-scripted actions, but instead experience everyday tensions between values and actively negotiate them. One main example was the tension between productivity and broader values like kindness. So overall, our findings show that God-Saeng is not just an individual pursuit, but rather a socio-technical phenomenon shaped by life uncertainty, cultural ideals of diligence, and the mediating role of technology. So rather than relying solely on personal willpower, they assembled technologies, social arrangement, and rules that would hold them to their intentions. The key insight from our study is that everyday well-being is not realized through linear pursuit of fixed goals, but rather constructed through the ongoing negotiation of competing demands. So we call for personal informatics systems to first foreground tensions and competing values, rather than concealing them behind simple metrics. For example, late-night study sessions might advance achievement while diminishing values like maybe rest or having some relaxed mindset to be kind, etc. So PI systems should surface such frictions as expected features of everyday well-being. Next, PI systems should support meaning making beyond behavioral data. Current PI systems support reflection reduced to a singular pathway, usually focused on progress toward goals. But meaning making actually emerges from diverse interpretations of life experiences. Finally, what does it mean to live well? It's not universal, but cultural. So PI systems should be designed accordingly. Oops. I want to go back to the takeaway slide, but okay, thank you. So yeah, these are the takeaways, and please refer to our paper for more details, and thank you for your attention.